Hey guys, Justin from Team DDD here, and today I've got for you an Amazoness deck profile. Now, Amazoness are a bit of an older deck that got support late last year, turning them into a decently powerful rogue option. But let's go ahead and get right into the deck. First off, 3 Princess. She's your main playmaker of the deck because on summon, she can grab an Amazoness spell or trap directly from your deck to your hand. Her other effect is that when she attacks, you can send one other card on the field or in your hand to the graveyard in order to special summon out an Amazoness monster in defense position, except another copy of herself. Next up, Amazoness Swordswoman, one of the old guard. She's got a pretty simple effect. Basically, whenever she attacks or is attacked, your opponent takes the battle damage that you would have in that battle. This basically gives you kind of an alternate win condition. Basically, you can just keep slamming into something much bigger than herself in order to burn your opponent. Last, I run 3 Amazoness Paladin. Amazoness Paladin's kind of one of the weaker ones in this deck, but the reason I run 3 is because she is level 4 Earth Warrior, which actually matters for me how I play this deck. But what her effect is that she gains 100 attack for each Amazoness on the field, including herself. Even though she starts out only at 1800, she actually can become pretty big as you swarm the field more and more. Next, 2 Amazoness Spy. Amazoness Spy's got a pretty simple effect. Basically, you can reveal another Amazoness in your hand in order to special summon her. That helps with flank plays, helps with rank 3 plays, or just giving you tribute fodder, honestly. Her other effect doesn't come up too much. When she's destroyed by battle, you can add another Amazoness from your graveyard to your hand. Next, to Amazoness Queen, the old boss of the deck. She's a lot easier to get out now due to several of their new support cards. Her effect is that your Amazoness monsters, including herself, can't be destroyed by battle. I still run this because Empress floats into her, so it's nice to have something kind of big to float into. And she protects Empress from battle because Empress protects other Amazoness cards, not herself. Next, for the late game burn, Amazoness Archer. I pretty much only go into this toward the end of the duel. During battle, I'll summon her out using Princess's effect, and then main phase 2, I'll just tribute them both to burn my opponent for 1200. Pretty simple strategy. It's basically a bigger cowboy for game. 2 Amazoness Baby Tiger. So Amazoness Baby Tiger is kind of weird. Mainly, I use it to help dodge effect negation. So what Baby Tiger does is whenever an Amazoness monster is normal or special summon, if this card is in your hand or in the graveyard, you can just special summon it for free. This is good because if you summon out Princess and then chain this, they can't Ghost Ogre it anymore, and they can't use Solemn Strike to negate its effect either. It has another effect where it gains 100 attack for each Amazoness card in the graveyard, and while in the long game this can make it pretty big, usually duels aren't going to last long enough for it to become bigger than like 1500 or something. The last Amazoness I run is Amazoness Sage. She's basically a bad MST. What she does is, if she attacks, if she's still around at the end of the damage step, you can just pop an enemy spell or trap for free. You could add more of her to cut down on Paladin because she's also a level 4 Earth Warrior, but I tend to just prefer to side Twin Twisters and Cosmic Cyclone to my side deck as opposed to running more of her. Last warrior I run is Marauding Captain. He's kind of just a one-off tech choice for me right now. I saw some people were running him in this deck, and I wanted to see how I liked it. His main purpose is basically just help facilitate more link plays with the free special summon on his normal summon. Because honestly, the protection effect isn't the best in this deck, because usually you want your opponent attacking your Amazoness monsters. Last real monster is Lava Golem. So I use Lava Golem because he helps with the alternate burn condition of this deck, because this deck between Archer and Swordswoman can actually burn your opponent for quite a bit of damage, so adding an extra 1000 on your opponent's standby phase is pretty good. And with a lot of like link boards coming out and being popular right now, this really can help take care of that. The no normal summoning restriction isn't hurting this deck too much because it has ways to special summon, but you do have to be careful when you activate that play to where you still have plays after you do that. And since there's no Amazoness Fusion card yet, I run 3 King of the Swamp. It's just the best card to grab Polymerization out the deck. If you open this plus Poly, then you just need an Amazoness monster to go into one of your fusions, because it can count as Queen, or it can count as the other Amazoness card that you need for Empress. That was it for the monsters. So now to the spells. 3 Amazoness card, an amazing search card. It's a quick play spell, and its effect is very simple. Basically, you take an Amazoness card and add it to your hand, or send it to the graveyard. It's a free Foolish Burial or a free Rhoda for the entire deck. Usually you'll just be grabbing it and adding to your hand, because there's very few cards that you would actually care to put in your graveyard first. Its other effect, it does have a graveyard effect, is that when you banish it, you can select one Amazoness monster you control, and that can attack all monsters your opponent controls. This is great for using Sword Twin when you have Queen on the board to just keep attacking everyone that your opponent has for damage, or just using Queen to like stomp over everything. It does have the restriction that you can only use one Amazoness call per turn, though. Next, 2 Amazoness Village. Honestly, I don't think this card's as important as it used to be. You used to basically need it as like the main strategy of the deck, but now it's just, in my opinion, just a nice card to have. You don't necessarily need to keep running it over and running 3 of this and running 3 terraforming, when you can just easily search it out and just have it up to give you some advantage for when you lose Amazoness in battle. Again, no Amazoness Fusion spell, so I run 2 Polymerizations and 1 Fusion Substitute. If you don't know, this card's name is always treated as Polymerization. I'm tempted to cut this for a 3rd Polymerization, but I have been using it because it does help recur some advantage if you do lose an Empress. Because this one requires your monsters to be on field, which can be slightly annoying, but it's not too restrictive. Now my secret tech of the deck, Downbeat. As I pointed out, it was kind of important for me to have a lot of level 4 warriors, because Amazoness Princess is a level 3 warrior. Basically, this lets you, if you start with level 4 Amazoness, but not anything to search it, you can use this to just tribute it, go straight into Princess, and start your place from there. It's actually saved my hand quite a few times. I wouldn't run it at 3, though, because we do have a lot of searching. So in those cases, it kind of becomes slightly bricky. 1 Rhoda, because the entire deck is warrior. Why would you not do that? Now, 3 Onslaught. This card's amazing, has a lot of effects. Let me go into them right now so you're not here all day. Once per turn during the battle phase, you can special summon an Amazoness monster from your hand, and it gains 500 attack until the end phase. So right there, it automatically helps out with swarming and gives you a bit of a buff. Keep in mind that since it's a trap card, you can summon on your opponent's turn too. Its other effect is that if this card is already face up on the field, and an Amazoness monster is attacks or is attacked, at the end of the damage calculation, you can just banish that card for free. It's not once per turn, it doesn't target, it's honestly an amazing form of removal, and combines really well with Amazoness Call's graveyard effect. Its other effect is that even if your opponent takes care of it, like using an MST or something to pop it, you get a free special summon of an Amazoness from your graveyard. Honestly, never run less than 2. I would run 4 if I could. And since I make my deck to go first, just a small Solemn Brigade. Honestly, you probably should cite this out after game 1 with the new time rules, and if you want to build a deck more to go second, you should add like hand traps or board wipes instead. That's it for the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. First, the Amazoness Fusions. 3 Empress, 2 Liger. Empress requires 1 Queen and 1 Amazoness monster, and by the way, Princess counts as Queen on the field or in the graveyard, so you don't even need to run Queen, but I still do, as you saw anyway. Queen protects all other Amazoness cards, not monsters, cards from destruction, and gives all Amazoness piercing. And when it's destroyed by battle or leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while its owners control it, you can special summon an Amazoness Queen from your hand, deck, or graveyard. That, alongside with decent stats, actually makes this pretty much the monster you go into the most. Pet Liger's effect, it gains 500 when it attacks, and after damage calculation, it can target one face-up monster on the field that your opponent controls, and that monster loses 800 attack, and that effect's permanent. Also, it also has the Amazon's Tiger battle protection, the battle targeting effect, to where they can't target other Amazon monsters except this one. Honestly, 9 times out of 10 you're going into Empress. Liger's kind of just a backup plan in case things go awry. Next, I run 2 rank 3s. MX Saber Invoker is used for one very specific play in this deck, where you basically use it when you can't get to Princess any other way, by using its effect to bring out level 4, having the level 4 die during the end phase, and then using Village's effect to search out the Princess. And Nightmare Shark's just used because if they got less than 2,000 life points and you can make that one rank 3, you can just make it go straight into battle and then attack directly for game. Next, rank 4 toolbox. Castell's really good. I don't think I need to explain it. Baguska's really good. You pretty much make this to try to stall up until you get your actual plays going. Gagaga. I was actually running it before the time rules, but it's still a really good card. And the Utopia package for getting over big monsters. Nothing really like outlandish in this section. And last but not least, 3 Link monsters, only one of which you'll actually make in a game. The Space Insulator's here because I side mind control. So what you can do is you can just steal your opponent's monster and then just summon out a monster and link it away with this. Mrs. Radiant is actually somewhat useful for the deck. It gains all Earth monsters gain 500, and as you saw, almost my entire deck is Earth monsters. The downward pointing arrows is nice because you can theoretically get out multiple fusions, and its recursion's effect is nice as well. It's also just easy to make because it is 2 Earths. It's, like I said, it's pretty much the only one you're actually going to make. And Decode Talker is just there in case I do have a Link 2 out and I want to go with something and actually deal some damage. So that's it for the deck profile. When it comes to Amazonas, I think they're actually a pretty good deck for a beginner to start, or someone who's getting back into the game to start with, because it's not that complex a deck to play, but it has some power plays that are really fun. The combos aren't that deep. Most of the time your inboard is really just an Empress or an Empress and a Onslaught, or a Princess and an Onslaught. But your opponent will surprisingly not necessarily want to attack into you too much when you just for free pop and banish their card. But that's it for the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and later guys.